The anime begins with the yakuza leader, called Sasako Sanagaki, while taking his granddaughter Izuko to her new house, because her parents died in an accident. Here he tells her that this will be her new house and she will be under the care of this boy named Keiya, so she starts screaming and comments that she loves her parents. However, he picks her up and tells her that he will be her father and mother from now on. Time passes and now we see that Izuku has become a beautiful and appetizing teenager who is taking a high school entrance exam. Once she gets home, her grandfather Yakuza asks her how she did on the exam and she comments that she passed. At that moment, Keiya arrives, who is very happy that she passed and carries her like when she was a child, so she feels somewhat embarrassed and asks to be put down, because she is no longer a girl. Then, her grandfather comments that Ottawa High School is quite far away, since it would take an hour to go by train, and she comments that that is precisely why she chose that high school. She also comments that she wants to live a normal adolescence, because people always bother her, has feared for being the granddaughter of a yakuza, so he hopes that now it will be different, and he will finally be able to make friends and meet the love of his life. After this, he has finally reached high school. Once she is in her class, she tries to approach some girls to chat. However, she trips over some of them, causing her to almost fall to the ground before being caught by another boy. Thinking that she would finally find a lover, she is surprised when she discovers that it was her tutor Keiya who saved her from the fall. After this, she asks him what an old yakuza is doing in high school, so he comments that he is not an old man, since he is only 26. He also comments that he has enrolled in this school to save her from danger, who runs when she falls in love with a man since they only think about making the delicious thing, and reveals that her grandfather is also aware of this. However, she does not accept this decision and tells him not to approach her while they are at school. Then she returns to her class and discovers that they have already made groups, so she sits alone and wonders how the hell she makes friends, so she uses her friend-making technique, which is to fall asleep, so we already understand why. He hasn't had any friends until now, since no one makes friends by sleeping. At that moment, Keiya returns to her and she asks him to leave, but suddenly two boys arrive to greet her and one of them whispers to the other that she is quite beautiful. However, Keiya instills fear in him and introduces himself as a torture specialist, so one of them asks him if he has an electric chair, and he responds saying that it is not necessary, since a pen is enough. At that moment, Izuku intervenes, so now the boys think they are weirdos. Once the teacher arrives to class, she asks who wants to be the class representatives, or rather, the class leaders. However, no one raises their hand, so Izuku thinks it is a good opportunity to make friends, but is not sure about making the decision. At that moment, Keiya raises his hand and comments that both Izuku will be the delegates. So the teacher assigns them their first job as leaders, which is to select those who will participate in the sports games. And so Keiya begins to select people. He also shows himself in such a friendly manner that leaves Izuku quite impressed by his performance. After returning home, Izuku is lying down a little depressed, so Keiya goes to ask her what's wrong and she comments that she hates not being able to express herself in public just like him, that being a 26-year-old yakuza, he's already done friend of the whole class, so Keiya gives her some emotional words and then hugs her in a somewhat strange way, so Izuku again feels embarrassed, and gets out of bed. After Keiya leaves, she reflects about their decisions so far. The next day, she asks her yakuza employees, Ruka and Kaoru, to help her practice volleyball, since she would join the club of this sport. However, when they start practicing, they hit her with the ball and suddenly, Keiya becomes jealous to the extreme and hits Kaoru for hitting Izuku with the ball and comments that he will help her train. However, she does not accept because he would be very careful with her. So she goes back to training with the boys and it is revealed to us that she is really bad at playing this sport, and when the ball hits her again, Keiya hits them. The next day at school, we see Izuku covered in bruises. When the girls approach her, they ask her why she is so hurt and she comments that it was due to her training, so the girls comment that together they will go after that first place. A few days pass, and we see Izuku who kept training. Then we see her playing at school and she has improved a lot. However, she fractures a finger, but she doesn't want to comment on anything since they were about to win the part Dio. When the decisive moment finally arrives, the ball goes towards her and she has no other option. She kicks it as if she were playing soccer and they win the game. Suddenly Keiya arrives and takes her running to the infirmary to treat her finger. Once her finger has healed, he comments that he feels quite sad to see that she is full of life every time she is with her friends, thinking that he said this because he was jealous in the sense of love. He comments if it does he feels when his children leave the nest, giving us to understand that he only loves her as a father would love his daughter. And so we come to the end of this video. If you want to see a second part, comment below. Daughter of the Yakuza Part 2.